Hey y'all, how you doing? How you feeling? How's your day been? I'm Takara, and this is my husband,
Kylan, what's good, Joe?
and we're here with another episode of Mutual Intentional Love.
Hmm.
Today may be different because dun we're here to talk about differences.
Oh boy. Oh
Yeah,
boy.
and let me tell you what's funny. It's because we were like, what should we talk about? You know? And you want to know the first thing he said was, we can talk about the dishwasher. The dishwasher?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And then what was it?
You and your running water refrigerators with ice cubes and whatnot, ice dispensers.
Running water refrigerators.
Ain't that nonsense, yo?
So what you mean is a refrigerator where the water comes out of the refrigerator? Refrigerator. Did you hear how it came out? Oh, tired.
Yeah.
But no,
That's exactly what I mean. Like, what that's nonsense. That is absolute nonsense.
to have water come from your fridge. That was the problem with how I just said refrigerator the first time, because I was trying to decide, do I want to say fridge or do I want to say refrigerator? And then it was like slowed down.
All that. Call it whatever you want. Icebox, refrigerator, fridge, all of the above.
I mean, I can understand that not everybody has a fridge with a water dispenser, but I don't think it's like, I don't know. Is that out of the norm? I don't think so.
I mean, at this point, perhaps not. But I mean, come on, like that's absurd, y'all. Come on, what?
Absurd? I don't.
Yes. Let me tell y'all. I was raised on tap water. This woman right here will not put her lips to a glass with water from a faucet.
That's not true.
That's absolutely true.
That's not true.
That's absolutely true.
Let me tell you how I know that's not true.
The only way you will do it is if it's from a restaurant and you don't know, and you struggle with that.
I mean, I can taste the difference.
Here we go.
But I don't complain.
Yes, you absolutely do.
No.
What?
I don't complain. I just make mention
that you're not going to drink this because you can
it.
Taste it's not right.
I do drink it. And was that our baby?
It sure is.
Oh.
It sure is. So, with that, we're going to take a brief pause and we will be right back.
Okay. So we're back. And I do believe we left off with my husband here trying to say I won't drink tap water. Am I wrong or right about that? Is that where we left off?
In what aspect? Yeah, that's where we left off, but you wrong about the fact that you will drink it, because you will not drink tap water.
I think I need the reminder of like the time that this happened. Because what are you talking about?
What we're talking about is the fact that we buy and drink absurd amounts of bottled water.
That part's true.
There's a running faucet right there in the kitchen.
Okay. See, now in my mind, because you were talking about restaurants, and you said I wouldn't drink tap water at a restaurant because you thought
I said that's the only place you will drink it.
That's the only place. This is my home.
Exactly.
I get to have the choice, and I'm going to choose nice, yummy, fresh, filtered water.
Chemically enhanced bottled water from who knows where.
Anyways.
Studies show that tap water is often cleaner. The studies are there.
I don't know about it, but what I do know is that there's often a different taste, even a smell, but sometimes I have brushed my teeth and then just cupped water from the sink and.
You don't swallow that water.
Yes, I do. This is what I'm saying. Yes, I do. This is why I said when I said Let me tell you how I know. That's how I know.
Okay, well, with that being the case, why don't you take that same water you cup up and drink after brushing your teeth on occasion once or twice a year on the regular instead of us buying bottled water?
That sounds like it might be bad for our health.
What?
One or a couple, 2 times here or there is not the same as like the amount of water that we drink. Like, I mean, come on.
That's why that's exactly my point, people. Like I just said, I was raised on tap water, and I turned out just fine, just fine. And this woman right here only drinks water from a running refrigerator that's got its own built-in spigot, or bottled water.
With still like a filtration system, but yeah.
Yeah, right. Of course, it has to have a filtration system. Okay. How could I forget?
Anyways, because I was starting to say something and I think I
find it,
lost
grab it, grab it
every time.
Grab it.
It's gone.
Wow.
I know. I tried. I tried to tell you. I tried to say something like so many times. Well, differences. That's what we're talking about.
Oh boy.
And we were supposed to be starting with the dishwasher, yet we focused on water.
Oh well, thanks for circling us back around.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Let's go to the dishwasher.
Let's do that.
What would you like to say about the dishwasher?
I think that there is a proper way to load the dishwasher. What would you like to say about the dishwasher?
What would I like to say about the dishwasher? Good people. Again, while I was drinking my tap water throughout my life, I was also hand washing my dishes. Because who doesn't hand wash dishes? Like you get you a dish rag, you got some dish liquid, and you wash the dishes, right? That's what you do. You can. Did y'all hear that?
You don't have to. There's a dishwasher.
But that's again one of those differences, in starting a new merging of lives and the meshing of two different lifestyles, two different ways of living into one. It's always so fascinating because you find out things like this. So the time came, we moved in together, and here I am thinking, I'm about to do what I've always done. I'm about to wash the dishes. I start running some water, filling up the sink, got my dish liquid. And I'm like, we ain't got no dish rags. Like, we need a dish rag. What is happening? Like, how are the dishes getting done here? And then, I'm told, oh, absolutely not. Oh, that is gross. You can't wash dishes in the sink with that dirty dish rag. You use a dish rag, the same rag, to wash dishes? Heavens no. So
First of all, not how I speak. Second of all, I feel like, it's different when it's me and you. I don't want anybody watching. If you use a dish rag, I hope you find a way to keep it sanitary. I prefer the utmost possibility of sanitation. So that's all I'm saying. And what works, that's my business. How many do we have any Tabitha Brown fans? Because that's your business. If you like to use a dish rag, having a little trouble speaking, but we'll just keep trying till we get it out correctly. Now, this is my husband. We have become one. So now his business is now my business. And so that's the
how you
beauty
end up
of
with risky business.
What?
Exactly. Absolutely.
What are you talking about now?
Because that right there is one of those things where you have to learn how to compromise.
Yes.
You have to learn how to pick your battles.
Yes.
You have to learn one another. And sometimes that involves acclimating to a new lifestyle.
Sometimes.
Sometimes that involves doing things differently, being open to doing things differently. And with that, you also have to be aware of doing this. You have to be aware of, are you doing this out of love? Are you doing this out of, just some sort of way to avoid conflict? And is it something that you're actually willing to change? Is it something that you're not willing to change? And if it's not, why is that? How important are those dishes to you? How important is it with the way in which you choose to do whatever the task may be, and the actual level of the relationship? Like, is this something you're willing to change your entire life for? And these are the things you need to think about and
Wait,
realize.
what do you mean change your entire life?
Like,
Wait. Can you do your very best to hold your answer? Because I already interrupted, so let's stick with that interruption because it came back. I got it. I was
what?
late. Hecka late. But we're here now. And I was going to say that I just wish we could have, like, more engagement, y'all. Like, engage with us. Like, I want to do a poll. How many of y'all drink tap water? Is it, like, what is the norm? What's the higher number, tap water or filtered water, whether that's bottled water or fridge water with a filter? I would like to know. So,
and with that also being the question, I would like to add on, how long have you been drinking tap water? How long have you been drinking filtered or bottled or fridge water? And like, and if, have you done both? Do you taste the difference? Is the difference worth those extra dollars and plastic bottles? And you look on the back and find out the manufacturing of water. Why does it have a manufacturer? Where did it come from? That's wild. That's very wild.
yeah. Okay,
But
so change your whole life?
back on topic, yes, because sometimes in the context of change your whole life, it's changing the way in which you have comfortably done something your entire life to
Okay.
now willing to shift it to a new way of doing something for the remainder of your life, or the remainder or longevity of a relationship.
Right.
You have to weigh the pros and cons. You have to really evaluate yourself
Yeah.
and your relationship. Like, what is it? What are all of these things worth to you?
What I really want to say is, like, do you want to level up, level up, level up, level up? But I can understand, like, what are you trying to say, level up, as if my level wasn't already completely fine.
Exactly.
So,
And those are the things that you have to take into consideration when you are introducing a new way of doing something to someone who has done something a particular way for a very long time.
yeah.
And then now you introduce this new way of doing something, and in some cases can feel like it is a better way or a more proper way to do something, as opposed to a different way, which is how we are doing this wonderful episode on differences.
Yeah.
Because would you like to do those dishes in the sink single, or would you like to do those dishes in a dishwasher in a happy home?
Right.
These are the questions,
Yeah.
Like, how important are those dishes? And that is something that I myself had to contend with and evaluate and ask myself, how much do I care about dishes, really? Like,
Right.
how much pride and ego go into how I do the dishes, I have to look at, what is really being said here.
Right.
How do I feel about what's been expressed to me, and what is actually being said, not what am I hearing and what am I feeling?
That's
Because
good.
those are two different things. Those are two very different things.
A lot of
What a
times, but
person
not
hears
always.
and feels is different than what is actually being said a majority of the time.
Right.
So I had to hear and process what my wife was actually saying to me. This is the way in which I would prefer we do things because X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And as I'm hearing X, Y, and Z, I have to sit there and process the ABC that I actually heard and felt in my head and feeling like, is this something that, am I doing something that's not considered good enough? Or is this some sort of way in which I feel like I could embrace and it just be something new, something different, and I could be totally fine with that.
That's so good. And I love that you said good enough. And I love that you said, do I want to do the single? Because these were thoughts that I was already having. One, because I'm trying to catch it, y'all. I'm trying to catch it. It's a lot. It's a lot. So I'm just trying to organize it in my brain so that it will come out my mouth correctly. And I'm thinking with the dishes.
Mm-hmm.
And
with the dishes.
And it's not about like I'm better than you or just a whole good enough thing. Like y'all understand the point of saying it because it's not about that. And this was a thought that I had on my own because when I was single, I did things a certain way. First of all, a difference that we can talk about is my husband is an amazing cook. I could cook if I did. so in my home, so when I was single, it was very easy. There is a way, babe. It was very easy to keep a clean kitchen.
Wow.
And because there were still times where I did what I did, and if I used a pot, like whatever I was doing, I always clean as I go, and I
would like to go back and remind the people of the. Excuse me. I would like to go back and remind everyone of the conversation that you and I had back on Food for Random Thought in season 1 and the barren spice cabinets.
You got me blurred out back here.
Well, it's because I'm speaking directly to the people, just me and them. You know, we have a moment, we have a connection, we have a bond, and we would like to share in this moment of recalling the empty spice cabinets. So that alone should tell you, as well as the fact of the statement we can refer to just a few moments ago.
Besides the point.
No. This is very much so to the point that I'm making.
It's an addition.
No. This is the point. This is the point of, I could cook if I did. So that alone should tell you, even the times that my wife would be cooking something, it would not be to the same level of my cooking. So the dishes would be less.
Okay, but still, this is what I'm saying. If I decided to do what you do, I would do it in a way that is my way. You have your way, and I have my way. And if I decide to do what you do, it would still be done in my way. And so that's what I'm saying.
My wife is a Taurus.
What's your point of telling the people this?
I just wanted to share that for anyone who follows the Zodiac. Take it with however you choose to take it. I'm just simply sharing an extra fact.
Thank you for letting the people know how awesome I am.
Right.
Yes. April Taurus at that. So even the more awesome.
Yeah, man.
So, as I was saying.
Right, go ahead.
Yeah. The point here is, these are thoughts I had. And just like you, it was like, some people just aren't, especially men, often aren't the ones to clean. But my husband will and does more than me. So there's that.
Right. That you say. Let's address the. There's that. Let's address that.
Yeah.
Because let's tell the people the situation behind that and the differences we were talking about in this episode, and those what you hear, what's being said, and what you feel. All three of these things are constantly back and forth. It's a cycle. Anything that is said will be heard and felt different ways at times.
At times.
And this is one of those things for us that it has been a situation to where it's one of those things with the dishwasher and the tap water and fridge water and
That really hasn't been an issue. And did I not know that this was an issue? Because I don't remember. That's why I was asking. Like, give me an example. Because I don't remember there being an issue about.
Well, that's
tap
because
water.
I am who I am. That's why it's.
Oh,
so
so you're saying it was an issue that you never told me about?
No, I didn't say it was an issue. I'm saying it was something in which I was able to evaluate and say, yeah, let's just buy a bottle of water instead of drinking tap water.
And over and over and over.
Endlessly. Yeah. That was something that I just said, you know what? Sure, we'll drink bottled water now. And that just was the situation. But going back to the topic that we just got to, which was cleaning habits. Mm-hmm. And, I pride myself on cleanliness, on being clean, and with that being the case, I've always had that very high standard and caliber of cleaning. I've always had this very high standard and level of excellence when it comes to this. So it's something I've always taken pride in. Pride being a key word. So it now becomes a situation where we are merging lives and now living together, and we're learning what the levels are between the both of us and the different levels of which things should be carried out to have a level of comfortability for the both of us. And that was a very interesting realization to come to and contend with, to come to peace with making these adjustments with big lifestyle changes, which to some people may not be a big lifestyle change, but as I said, pride being the key word, I took pride in my level in which I clean. So that was a big part of my lifestyle that has now needed to come with a couple of changes in which where there'll be some things where my wife is detail oriented in different ways than I am. And her level of attention to detail is heightened and amplified for certain things. And cleanliness is one of those things. So if there is a certain area that I've cleaned a specific way that works for me, it might kind of need a different manner of being done to be comfortable to my wife's standards of cleanliness. And with that, it's difficult at times, to receive this information and process it and be at peace with it. And that's one of the things that's very important, to be able to receive this information and be willing to make the necessary adjustments for that peace for the both of us.
Yeah, I think that was well said, and I think that pride is a good point to make, because one of the things that we often regarding this topic, one of the things that is often said is let's do this together, let's be a team. But I think you do take so much pride in what you're doing and serving, because you have a servant's heart, that you don't want me to help.
This is true.
And I'm just like, you know, you wouldn't even have to change your ways because I'll do my ways as you're doing your ways. And we're going to do this together.
That within itself is something that is difficult for me to swallow, because I feel like what's necessary and what isn't necessary. Whereas if I'm already taking care of all of these things in the way in which I'm taking care of them, which is to a high standard, it should be sufficient. But sufficiency is not necessarily the goal, because what is sufficient for me may not be sufficient for you. And when those things don't align, that's where we miss each other. And it needs to be adjusted to a level where we can both meet in the middle.
Yeah.
But when you offer those different options and choices in which to get the desired result that you're looking for, I feel like it's not necessarily necessary at times, just for the simple fact that if you can be okay with my method, instead of wanting to have your method be the method.
And that brings us full circle. I became okay because I'm okay not being single. So it's just like, okay.
Which, you know, I feel like is one of those things where pick your battles.
Yeah.
It is absolutely a pick your battle scenario. And also,
but every once in a while there's like a gunshot.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it's like
shots have been fired. Shots have absolutely been fired.
I don't know how this got loaded. I don't even know. I don't know what happened. Whoops.
Right.
So yeah.
And then it brings you back to those moments where you have to now again evaluate everything, reevaluate, evaluate and reevaluate, evaluate and reevaluate, because you come to these moments in life where you need to evaluate the situation. Take what you heard, sit with it, don't react to it immediately, because it can be one of those things that, you know, when a shot's fired, your natural reaction is just to immediately, like, what is happening right now? What is happening? Or is there some sort of something I need to be prepared for right now? Do I need to, how do I respond to this? Do I respond to it by
knock if you butt
retaliating? Or do I respond to it by, okay, let me patch this up, and then I can see where the shot came from and why it was in my direction. And I feel like those are two very different approaches, and the latter of which is much more helpful to having a sustainable relationship.
Yeah.
You know, it helps with conflict resolution. It helps with communication, to where you're able to preserve that peace, because that's what's most important, is always protecting your peace, the peace within the relationship, and the peace within the home.
That's good, babe. Okay.
Differences, man.
We all have them.
And that's the spice of life.
Yeah, variety is the spice of life.
I didn't say variety. I said differences. Now let's not get crazy.
Isn't that the same?
No.
Are you sure? I think it is the same.
No. Variety, well, it depends on the context. But variety has a connotation of a broad spectrum and numerous amounts. Whereas differences, you know, it could be a thing here or there. It could be a couple of things, not a vast number of things.
I mean.
So, you know, but it's again, perspective.
Yeah.
Another one of those things that is different.
Yes. That is so good. That reminds me, we need to check out that podcast. I don't remember the name. I would have gave you an absolute shout out, but shucks. But it was about perspectives, and I actually don't remember what I did know.
Interesting.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I feel like I do, but not enough to speak on, though.
Yeah, exactly. So my bad for even mentioning it. But if I remember, I will get all the information and I'll let you know in the next episode.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that was good. Did you have anything else you wanted to add as far as our differences?
Yes.
Oh,
While we're
my
here,
gosh.
folks. Yeah, I absolutely
Yes,
did.
absolutely. Okay.
I am very old school. I like a paper trail. I
Oh
like
my gosh.
documents.
Oh my
I
gosh.
like to have my files organized neatly. Everything has a place.
Don't act like that's
and
not
it should be
different.
in it.
I mean that is different.
Oh, it's different in the fact that you don't necessarily prefer a paper trail.
Right. I don't prefer paper, but neat, organized, like.
Yes, that's all the case. My wife is very neat and organized. Organizational systems are different.
Yeah,
but they complement one another quite well.
Certainly, like a minimalist. You know, if you can have a digital copy, that's really a lot easier to access, anyways. Then.
When it is, but when it isn't, you need that hard copy, physical piece of paper
just piling
that is
up,
undeniable, that cannot be altered in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Which now can easily anything can be altered digitally. Anything that you have can be altered.
I know. Do you remember when Amazon played us? I cannot believe that. Y'all, we had a baby registry, and
disclaimer. One moment, please. Amazon. We would like to take this moment to give a disclaimer. We have no qualms with Amazon whatsoever going forward. However, we would like to address this oversight on the part of your company that really must be addressed, because it was quite egregious.
It was
unacceptable, honestly.
And I can there's good and there's bad, because I love the Amazon credit card, and the fact that you get points back and money back and all that is amazingly fantastic. You know, the availability of products, how quick I can get them to my house and I don't have to leave my house. There's a lot of good. But we were talking about how something digitally can be changed
within seconds, before your very eyes. You're looking at the screen, it says one thing, and while you're on the phone, and
they just went. That's not what it was. It's this date. Like, I'm sorry, what? Because the baby registry, if you have a baby coming, I do recommend the baby registry, because they give you with Amazon, because they give you a completion discount, which is really cool. Like, you get to save on all things baby, and they let you have it for months. I think 3 months.
Yeah, a couple months.
I think 3. And that's amazing. Like, any way you can save a couple dollars, especially on these diapers and formula and all the things that are just outrageously priced, it helps to have that discount.
Absolutely.
Well, for whatever reason, with our middle baby, they extended the date of when the completion discount ended. I had the email. And not only I had the email, and then also when you sign in to Amazon and go to your registry, it says it there, and they moved the date. they I was literally ordering the formula to make sure that we'd be able to take advantage of this discount, and it wasn't working. And I'm like, what is the issue? Like, this is a whole day before it expires. And they completely just went behind the scenes, as I had just taken a screenshot, thank goodness, or otherwise I would have no proof.
No proof whatsoever.
No proof whatsoever. They went behind the scenes and literally changed the date to what it, like, even before what it originally was. Like, well, obviously if they're changing it, but it was something, I can't remember the full details other than that major detail of right before my eyes, they changed the date. And I'm like, are you kidding me? But I had like the most awesome customer service representative on the phone with me who apparently knows things like this can take place. And she's like, but if you just send it to me, I'll do what I can. And she was amazing. They gave me something that was like, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
but I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe like the dishonesty and like how easy. Like I just wouldn't think it would be that simple to do.
And it was one of those things that if you weren't really on the ball and paying attention and on top of things,
they
and
try
having
to gaslight me.
It was one of those things that
you would
you
think
could
you're
question
crazy.
yourself.
Like
That you haven't seen a date that you had already seen for weeks.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's a different date.
Yeah. I think what it was, what I was saying, I couldn't remember the details because it was not only the date, but the time.
Yep.
Like they changed like
everything.
Yeah.
Literally everything. The date and the time both changed.
That's crazy. So yes.
Yeah, that's
for that reason.
That can't happen with a piece of paper.
It cannot happen with a piece of paper. I do understand that. But I mean, I just don't want like all this random stuff. Like just what do you need this for?
Situations like this, when you need to produce your papers, you're able to do so. Anything that's supposed to be what it's supposed to be. If you have any sort of legally binding documents, you need those in paper. You need to have your paper trail to prove every single thing that you may need to prove to whomever you need to prove it to. Yeah. And that's one of those things that is harder to do with digital copies of things.
Right.
So,
But I mean, I do have papers.
Some papers. And then other papers that I feel would be equally as relevant to keep. The option is to not keep those papers and then just have a digital copy somewhere that we can hopefully access if there's internet or Wi-Fi when we need to access them. I can come get a piece of paper with or without Wi-Fi anytime.
I like a good discussion. Absolutely. If you can, convince me, like, what is going to possibly happen to where this would be needed, and that makes sense. Like, okay, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Let's keep it.
I feel like that's another good point to bring up.
Things have to make sense.
No, not even that. We're talking about right now with relationships on a whole. When you come to a situation that requires convincing or compromise, it's probably a good time to really reflect on what it is that you actually want and why it's something that even requires a compromise. And if it's something that you're trying to convince your partner of, why are you needing to convince them? And what is it that convincing them is going to do for you? Why do you feel so strongly about this thing that you need to impose it with certainty?
That's good.
Something to think about.
Yeah. Nice, healthy self-reflection.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, it's also of having the discussion out loud, because sometimes it absolutely can help to have that discussion with your partner. Mm-hmm. Not just sit and think about it on your own, but to vocalize your concerns. It can help to bring you to a place of realization that you may not have reached sitting alone with your thoughts. Actually verbalizing things into something tangible that you can have a back and forth discussion on, it can reach a new place. And oftentimes, that new place is much better than where you started. Mm-hmm. So, always be mindful.
Yeah. Anything else, babe?
I feel like we have touched upon all of the important things for this episode.
Okay. Because I couldn't think of one. Yeah. I could probably go in detail more with those that we already talked about, but I think we hit what we needed to hit.
Absolutely. So, I say we go ahead and bring things to a close. Anything you would like to go back and speak about that we've already touched upon this episode?
Yeah, I think this was good. I really enjoyed this time. I hope that you guys will as well. Mm-hmm. And let us know what is the differences within your relationship. Leave us some comments.
Yeah, we want to talk to you. Let us know. So as always, everybody, stay well and prosper. Peace.
Thank you for making it to the end.
And as always, much appreciation for all your support.
If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and comment, and share.
Across all platforms. And as always, stay well and prosper, everybody. Peace.